Man, LGD and I are riding the same high, Preacher. I just gotta say, my feet won't touch the ground after that game number 1. Boy, that was a nail biter.
I mean, yeah, you definitely got to give it over to LGD, and they definitely hit their mark just like PYL did in that intro, because of course they took out that game. Unfortunately, we can't quite hype up that man too much because he did get caught out, which is what he's always susceptible to. But there is somebody who we need to hype up.
Who's that going to be, Preacher?
I believe it's going to be MVP, but I'm not too sure who that could have been. Matt, do you have any clue?
I'm going to guess that it's the man, the myth, the legend, the 5/6 item Jin himself, Kramer.
Woo! I mean, he got the full build, and even though Jin is usually known as an early game and a little bit of a mid-game carry, he definitely carried it all the way through. Even with his CS and managing to outdamage Ezreal because it was a straight poke composition, he managed to take out the victory. It was really nice to see him adapt to the builds as well. Early rapid fire cannon meant that he could actually hit the Ezreal along with his Qs right back, and take a look at his ultimates. Those were so key in pretty much every single engagement that he used them. Always on the mark, even if they hit Southwind, pretty much managed to slow him down to the point where that tanky Brom is tanky no more.
Man, he made me want to play Jin. That's hard to say. But this team fight around the Baron, my God. This was literally game ending off the back of Kramer. Just absolutely beautiful kiting. And PYL, I'm going to give him the credit that we didn't for the rest of the game. That was a beautiful Devour to save him. Yeah, managed to get his ADC out of the situation all the way back. Even though he falls, there's a triple kill going over to Kramer. He was doing so much work in the backline there, and you have to say, because of that mobility in the double Zeal item build that he went for, and also his passive, which gives him more when he auto attacks, it was just all coming together because he managed to dodge out the Ezreal Qs. He managed to dodge out pretty much every single piece of engage that Vici had to really go back onto him, and that damage was way too strong to deal with. Yeah, 44% damage share from that Jin. Just absolutely, just a little bit disgusting. So going forward into this next game, unfortunately, I normally what I like to say is, you know, the winning team was so fantastic, there's nothing to say. LGD, that was a back and forth game. It was. Not for the reasons you really want it to be. So what do they need to shore up going into this game number 2 if they want to secure a 2-0? They need to back off from situations they don't have advantage over. So the one thing that Vici Gaming had throughout the entire game was poke coming out of Ezreal Qs, and too many of those hit on the side of LGD before they decided to pull the trigger around that Baron fight. That is why they lost the fight, gave the advantage and also the Baron over to Vici Gaming, and they lost a whole lot more after that. So if they can shore it up and they can say, no, we're actually going to go back to base because we trust the fact that Ezreal can't take down Baron this early into the game with his build, especially seeing as he went Iceborne Gauntlet, then we should just be able to come back and fight them 5v5. Unfortunately, LGD had a little bit of trouble there, but Vici, I think, showed a lot of promise, showed a lot of fight. I want to see them keep that going into game number 2, because as their coach was saying, as Long was saying, one of the problems that the Vici Gaming players have is just being able to take a loss. Yeah. You know, take that L and say, okay, that wasn't great from us. That's okay. We can come back into this game number 2. We can come back reset. We need to come back stronger. And I think that is one of the major factors for them coming into this game number 2 that they need to focus on. But let's throw mentality out of the window for a second. What do we want them to focus on here? Because that early game was just entirely ceded over to LGD, and that's normally their strong point. That's definitely what I'm looking over towards. I mean, they lost out pretty hard in the early game before turrets even fell. They're not usually known to do that. They're usually known to actually hold their own and maybe even come out ahead in terms of the early game. So while they did actually manage to fix some of their problems regarding their communication within the game, what they lost out to LGD was, of course, that. And you can't blame the players. You can't blame execution for that entirely, because, of course, there were very preferable matchups for LGD. Of course, they even rotated around the 2 solo lanes, like you remember. So for Vici Gaming, go back to basics. Go to the pick and ban draft phase. Draft very strong laners, because that's what you need in order to really propel yourself forward. You've already got the shot calling. Just make sure that you can get the early game to back it up. And it was unfortunate for me that we didn't really get to see a lot of pop-off coming in from the side of Vici Gaming, because I know we highlighted Jay before these games as someone who has that potential, someone who we wanted to see shine a little bit brighter, and I don't feel like on the Sylas he had much of the capability to do that. That said, he did have some beautiful ultimate steals, so maybe we should give that to him. You know, stole away the curtain call, stole away a few other ultimates to turn around some team fights. That's it, yeah. Steal away the curtain call to make sure that your team has some siege potential, and also steal the Akali one to really defang her, make sure that she doesn't 100-0 tower dive you, because of course you can just get her straight backwards. So while that silence pick was more picked just to make sure that their opposing team couldn't actually execute on a lot of their win conditions, I'd like to see him put on a champion that he can execute on his own. Of course, yeah, I've got to give props over to LGD, because they banned away Kiana away from this guy. But even with that said, the pentakill Marcy should be able to at the very least recover. Yeah, I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that coming into the game number 2. And PYL just absolutely thrilled to be here. Kramer a little bit less excited. That was such a beautiful contrast. I think the only stronger contrast you'd see between a support and an AD carry's attitude is for Sooning. Where you got a Sword Art who's constantly bubbly and smiling. And he's just like, yes, life is a gift and it is one I'm happy to receive. And SMLZ is like, what?
SMLZ is permanently in a poker game because he does not give anything away from his facial expressions. But yeah, taking a look at this man, he was of course MVP of last game. So if he's not quite 100% satisfied with that game, then you can only expect that his second game should be stronger.
I like seeing that in a player though. As much as I love to see the bubbly attitude, I love seeing someone who is also able to keep that focus in, keep that strong attention on what they need to do next. You know, Kramer's probably going over, he's like, what did I do wrong last game? What could I have done better? And as much as I'd like to say he was flawless, because I'm a huge Kramer fan from last split, there are...
我这赛季的表现的话
Let's hear from Soutwind first.
一般般吧，没有达到自己所想的那种高度吧。天悦林是一个征战很多年的老将了，他的经验非常的丰富，他对于团队的运营做的是挺不错的。
A lot of respect paid over to the opposing laners, of course. That is Puff from Vici Gaming. So while we were talking about Kramer, we also got to talk about this guy, giving a lot of respect over because PYL is one of the shot callers that he is currently versing against. He needs to make sure that he can overcome him in the laning phase. So we'll have to listen to that person.
我知道 VG 下路两人配合都还挺好的，然后而且他们辅助南风喜欢玩一些就是比较开团进攻，然后在下路也会打得比较凶。 我觉得我在下路只要玩得稳一点，他抓不到什么机会的。
Very confident as well from PYL. So obviously, both these two bottom laners, they want to get their advantages and they want to get it early. I mean, respect paid, of course, from both of them where it's due, but sitting in number 16 and number 14 respectively, they've got a long way to climb.
It's interesting for me to hear that Soutwind doesn't feel like he was quite up to par for his performance, because honestly, coming into the LPL last split at least, he absolutely blew me away. His first game was 100% kill participation. That is not something most supports can say, especially not on their intro to the LPL. So I feel like he's been a very strong support, and I want to see if he doesn't feel like he's in peak condition, what he can bring out in this second game, what he can do to sort of bring that back. Because I remember Rakan still open for him.
Of course.
If it's not banned away this time, and that's what I want to. That's the kind of thing I want to see him on. Somewhere where he can be aggressive, like PYL said. Somewhere he can take control of the lane.
And more importantly, it's also about the melees and the engages. So right now, it is Tahm Kench, it is Braum meta. But if you get some hard engages like the Rakan or even the Alistar, then that could be the avenue to success. I mean, you need to start the fights in the bottom lane, and you need some tools in order to do so.
Let's see what tools they're able to pick up here in the draft with game number 2. LGD is just focusing on the Southwind already. That little speech from him, they were like, I got you, hold on. Let me take away your Rakan, let me take away your Yuuki.
Wants to engage, let's take that away from them. But of course, Alistar is not a very strong priority, so naturally you wouldn't be banning it away in the first rotation. Could leave it up and available for Vici Gaming.
Damn, that is a lot of respect paid to Southwind there. That is all 3 bans going over to the support position, whereas Vici go for the Olaf, they go for the Akali, they go for the Aurelia. Pretty standard meta bans over here.
Yeah, very standard. Of course, the Sejuani is still available. Very strong jungler. Gragas, of course, very strong jungler in his own kind. But another one is, of course, the Aatrox. He did a lot of work. Of course, it was over on Garvey in the last game. He went to the mid lane, but still took that champion into the matchup against Silas, and we know that he knows how to play it.
Sejuani to be picked up as well there on the side of LGD. Just give them their jungler pick. Going to combo very well with the Aatrox as well. Able to proc that passive very quickly, get the stuns up in the lane. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of focus on Garvey again this game, because I feel like last game that did very well for the side of LGD.
Yeah, it could be one of the places that we watch for. Now I actually want to check out what Vici Gaming go for, and hey, we finally got our prayers answered!
Hey, there we go. Jay looking to make maybe another pentakill performance here today. So happy to see him on this, happy to see it not banned. The focus on Southwind may pay off, but it may actually bite LGD in the butt with this one.
And more importantly, they also get the hard engage in the bottom lane as well. That's exactly what we said could be Vici Gaming's way into victory. Get yourself a very comfortable mid laner that you have a lot of experience on. Get some hard engage into the bottom lane as well. They've got all the recipes for success. Now we have to watch for the top lane and also the ADC. But honestly, anything can plug and play because you've got your core members already there for Vici.
Yep, Ezreal taken away this time. They're going to be taking that for Kramer. not wanting that to go over to Puff, but you've got an Alistar on the side of Vici Gaming. You've got a lot of options, and LGD going to take away the Sivir, of course, just like last game, just used to take away one of those big counters to Ezreal in lane.
Yeah, it was also very interesting that LGD didn't go the route of picking up a Jhin once more. Of course, taking away the Ezreal is both a pick and a denial away from Vici Gaming. So now, with that taken off, as well as the Sivir and the Kaiser, a good ADC should be a Varus for Vici.
There's a lot of focus on the support position there for Vici Gaming, and since LGD spent their first draft phase taking away supports as well, this support pool has gotten clamped down quite a bit. 5 are gone so far.
Wait a second.
Don't tease me.
Don't be doing this.
I really don't expect that one to be locked in because I don't feel like it's going to be all that strong right now, but I've been proven wrong before.
I mean, there is a good matchup for the Shen into the Alistar. Very weak support in and of himself
There
at the
we go.
moment, and yeah, they decide to hover
There
off
we
of it.
go.
It was the E engagement, but funnily enough, it's also the E interaction with Taric as well. You want to get somebody to engage onto you, so then the return poke is even harder. And with the denial of damage away because of your W and your Q, it's not the worst matchup in the world.
Yep, now, Vici Gaming going to respond with their bottom lane of their own. They're going to be picking up the Lucian for the AD carry, it looks like. Very, very aggressive lane coming in here from the side of Vici Gaming. Want to see what they round out the solo lanes with, because we got a lot of options. We know we have the Kiana in the mid lane, or Kiana rather, for Jay.
This could definitely be very bold. I like the Lucian, and I'll touch on it a little bit later, but pretty much anything goes because we said the skeleton of the comp is already there. You've got Jay on the Kiana, and you've also got Southwind on a very hard engaged champion. The Camille is going to be rotated onto the top side, but I quite like the Lucian pickup in the second rotation, Nibiria, just because he got buffed on 915. His ultimate does more damage, and in those crucial 2v2s, every last piece counts.
Yeah, we've seen some crazy callings come out here in the LPL. And LGD need to see what they want to focus now. They have an AD carry, they have one solo laner, but they're looking at a very spicy second one. Gotta wait until it's locked in. It's gonna be the Fiora up there, probably going over to Garvey.
Yeah, we actually saw this matchup previously. So the Fiora actually has a really nice time into the Camille, just because Camille's E is very telegraphed. So she takes about 2 seconds to fully channel her first Q and her second Q. More than enough time for Fiora to riposte it away with her W. Amazing lane matchup for the Fiora. So expect that side to go over to LGD. But all of that being said, it's Jay and it's Kiana, so of course, this is such a hype matchup. Garvey's got the advantage. Jay, you'd have to assume, has got the comfort pick on his shoulders as well. It is a matchup that we were expecting to see before this match even started.
And with that Gragas as well, you have so much gank potential going down towards that mid lane in the early game, in the mid game, in the late game. No matter when you are in the laning phase, you can find a gank towards that middle side of the map. So I want to see the pop off for Jay here. Just, is that sign upside down?
Yeah, it might have been.
All right, you know what? That's fine.
Well, the phone's the right way up, so 1 out of 2, not too bad.
Yeah, you know, it's the Garvey sign again. He flipped the sign upside down, just wants to make sure people are still paying attention to that sign, and I appreciate you, man, in the crowd. But going into this game, I really want to see a lot of attention paid to the Kiana, because I feel like that is where Vici Gaming's strength can shine.
That is definitely something that we have got to focus on. And with the Gragas, of course, everybody being so squishy in the early game, very good avenues for success for Vici's early game.
Looking at the other side, though, LGD, they have Garvey on the Fiora, a carry potential champion. We've already seen what he can do with the Aurelia against Invictus Gaming, so there still is the chance for Garvey to pop off in this one. The 2 carries we were highlighting in the beginning of the series, we might get to see them do their thing here in game number 2 of Vici Gaming versus LGD.
Potentially last game for both of these 2 teams in the summer split, so it's definitely a tearjerker when you take a look at their paths to get here. And once again, just highlighting the fact that if Vici Gaming actually manage to pull it back and actually win this series, then they do not end up in dead last place, which is the first time in quite a while, as opposed to LGD, who are definitely playing for credit, because of course they are in their own arena in Hangzhou, and they've got a lot of fans here who expect a lot of them.
Yeah, got to keep the fans happy, got to keep yourselves happy as well. Predator coming in on that Gragas. That is going to be a very, very spooky fat man coming in from the jungle. Now Cube going to help him with that leash. Both junglers starting on their blue buffs this game instead of both bottom side. So I just want to see this mid lane matchup because it is not one I admit to having seen much.
I mean, the natural early game does go over to Yuuki just because he's got the longer range on the Qs, but we're not really looking towards that, and we're not really looking towards the laning phase either. It's really when the ultimates come out for both of these two mid laners, and they both start joining the rest of the teams that they're really going to make the impact. And it's drastically different in what the roles are. Of course, the Aatrox wants to facilitate everybody else, whereas the Qiyana wants to get herself ahead with all of that assassination potential. So it's once again comes down to the junglers that they want to interfere with the mid lane matchup. Now, when you take a look at Ike's on the Gragas as well, he's got the Predator, which means he wants to clear one side of his jungle, go back, get his boots, and then he has everywhere on a menu for him.
Top side, we're having a little bit of trading going down already. Garvey is having a little bit of trouble in the early stages of the game, but I think once he gets that ultimate at level 6, we'll be seeing it shift around, since he will have a little bit of extra damage, have a little bit of extra healing coming out from that as well.
And also the level 3, just to make sure that you have all of your abilities, especially the W, which is the hardest counter towards the Camille. But so far getting punished away because the Hex Shield is way too strong to deal with. Let's see if Cube can extend this and be safe about when he uses his E.
So far, so good in the top lane. I'm really excited to see more like fighter type matchups in the top lane. Yeah, where you get a little bit of mechanical outplays, a little bit of mechanical ability. It's more fun than tanks at the very least. But Ike's coming in for the early gank. The Ignite has already popped down. Flash not going to follow up because Yuuki has already burned his Flash.
And this is really well played by Ike's as well. He held onto his Flash because he knew, because he knows that everybody in the LPL expects a very early game Gragas to use his E flash in order to get onto them, burn Yuuki's flash at absolutely nothing, and he still manages to keep his own. He can now rinse and repeat either in the mid lane or influence another lane with that flash.
badeMan was looking towards the top side of the map. Oh my god. Take an eye of the mini-map, guys.
Oh, check that out.
Vici really, really want this. badeMan is here to try and defend. They see him coming in. Looks like this is just going to end up being a plate gank at this point, though.
But it's a lot for the early game because you deny away the plates, you deny away the minions as well. Yuuki's not having a great lane and already being punished down because they want because Vici Gaming want to give Jay as much of a lead as they possibly can. Working out so far.
Southwind, though, that is a lot of time he's had to spend on this side of the map. Meanwhile, Puff is all by his lonesome in the bottom lane. His support will be joining him soon, but LGD's already had their bot lane this whole time, and as a result, Illusion hasn't been able to pressure all that much.
Yeah, but not the worst case scenario, because of course into an Ezreal, he can't do that much if you just stand behind your minions. And more to the point, Lucian excels once he gets levels and level leads over his opponents. So leaving your ADC alone and moving as a support is one of the better strategies if you are into a very safe lane, like the Ezreal lane.
Oh, badeMan coming for the gank up into the top side of the map. Cube, gonna be just fine.
Good read.
Yeah, incredibly good read. Didn't have a ward, now has one. Knows the control ward is in the bush, but his ward won't give him vision of his own.
And honestly, Cube is playing this lane very well, because usually we say that Fiora wins it out. She's got better sustain, she's got better trades as well as the W counter for the E, but still going over to Cube means that this solo laner definitely knows the matchup.
That said, Garvey did get a chance to get a back, pick up a call of his own, try and scale himself up into the later stages of the game a little bit quicker. And Soutwind is spending so much time roaming this game. This is...
He's a level 3 Alistar. He's got access to every ability. What more could you ask for?
Experience, gold,
I mean,
success.
Look, if he was a level 2 Alistar, I would say exactly the same thing, because that's really all you need. And he's got his eyes on the mid lane once again.
Still looking for this. They catch up badeMan on the rotate. Last plant going to be taken away there by Southwind, and this is just very aggressive pathing up towards this top side of the map, and VG might be in a little bit of trouble. LGD have 4 members rotating to pincer down onto Southwind and Ike's. Ike's makes his way out, Southwind will do the same, and it looks like LGD not even able to find anything with the 3-man rotation.
Just diffusing the situation and make sure that Southwind is goaded back towards his own lane, shepherding the cow as it is. However, because Vici Gaming took way too long around the mid lane, got caught out of multiple wards, dropped the wards for themselves as well, they gave ample time for PYL to go up. So not only is Southwind down on experience, but he didn't actually manage to get anything out of it. You have to take a look at it in the holistic system and say, unless Puff could do good work with that, it's not actually working out too well in the straight 2v2.
Cube in the top lane, still having a good time, as we were saying, but level 6 pop by
Here it
Garvey,
is.
and he immediately goes for the engage. Hextech's ultimatum is available for Cube if he wants to go for a re-engage. He's waiting for the Grand Challenge to fall off. He's got a few more seconds left. He could go for it now, but instead, let's look at the bottom lane. Predator's been popped by Ike's. He's looking for the gank here. Not going to be able to find the body slam. He does. Flashes, gets the body slam onto 2. Kiana comes in. That's what we wanted to see, Jay. 2 kills going over to Vici.
What a ridiculous gank as well. Ike's even flashed forward and then E backwards to make sure that they got bopped into the right direction. Jay with the follow-up. Man, that was beautiful execution.
It's exactly what you want to see coming in from Jay. I am so excited to see this coming out because this is what I was hoping for this game. This is what we were both hoping for.
Woo, and now the mid-game looks like it's busted wide open for Vici Gaming. They were already looking for the advantage so that Jay could carry the rest of his team, but 1 kill. 1 assist, and we get to watch it again. Watch out for Ike's as well. 2 people in the right direction, flash forward, ease backwards, and then everybody gets pushed back with the Kiana ultimate as well. What more can you say other than that was just very cleanly executed?
Especially by Ike's. We very rarely see that kind of flash body slam come out, but that was absolutely stunning. So great job by him to be able to set up that gank. 2 kills going over to his team. And at this point, Jay's going to have a little bit better time in lane. He's already 7 CS up. He's got the double longsword now to back him up with the biscuits and the potion. He's got sustain for days.
Definitely styling on them. So he gets his lead for himself. There's a deficit onto Yuuki because he was so heavily ganked twice by the side of Vici Gaming. It's looking better and better for Jay, and we just got to keep our eyes constantly on this mid laner. Over on the other side, though, we were expecting Garvey to be the real equalizing force for LGD, but yet to make a significant lead and actually not even getting a health lead for himself in the 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit, not able to find the Grand Challenge earlier, so he wasn't able to get any advantage in the lane off of that. But in the meantime, Ike's and Vici as a whole are just looking so good right now. Even the 3-man gank that LGD were attempting earlier was not able to succeed thanks to Jay knowing maybe I should back off. Maybe I should play a little bit safe for the time being and force PYL to waste some time. badeMan as well. badeMan's finally hit 6 though, so I think this is where we might get to see some action from the LGD jungler.
This is really when he's going to really influence. Checking out the map, a really great place to go is actually mid lane, because combined between the Aatrox and Ultimate Sejuani CC, you should be able to 100-0 Jay even with the lead that he has. Another great place is also bottom side, but that's very conditional because you've got to wait until Soutwind engages before you re-engage onto him, and that is really where he should be keeping his eyes on at all times.
Uh-oh, this might turn into an engage here. Smite takes him with a Raptor Camp. badeMan's going to get out of there scot-free. Tied up in CS at 51 with the Gragas. Of course, Ike's does have those 2 assists to his name, though. So, time being, things will reset for a little bit. A little bit of action has lulled. But if you look at Jay, he's got the Moby boots plus the serrated dirt completed. If he wants to go for a roam after he pushes in that wave, he's going to be able to accomplish a lot with it. Looks like he's doing just that. Wants to collapse on the jungle against badeMan and try and prevent him from getting anything done this game.
Hard to night away. So Sejuani, while she did get the level 6, is going to lose out on these camps. Watch out for how these 2 junglers match as well, because that is the worst feeling when you just leave 1 wolf, but still going back to the point. Watch out for when both these 2 junglers meet as well, because there is certainly the read potential for Vici Gaming. They know roughly where badeMan is at all points, so there is always a counter gank potential available for the Gragas.
2 turret plating is going to be going over to the side of Vici in the mid lane as well. So Gragas having a good time, Jay having a better time. At this point, LGD, how are they going to find their way back into this game?
Focus on the top side. If you're not going to get your laners ahead because there's a synergy between the Aatrox and also the Sejuani, then make sure that Garvey gets ahead. He's been proven that if you give him some resources, he knows exactly how to get some solo kills in his own lane, get some solo kills from other lanes as well. So make sure that you give him some of the resources. Very hard to deny away, but we already saw 1 gank onto Cube, successfully disengaged by Cube. Doesn't have a teleport now, so best case opportunity for you to really engage that point.
Garvey instead just taking a huge amount of damage from Cube as he teleports in. He's picked up the Sheen as well. Not quite rich enough to pick up the Phage on that back, but we'll be picking that up soon. Garvey's able to keep the shove up with the Tiamat as well, so he's just waiting in that bush, seeing what he can get done.
And the first backs actually benefit Cube because the Sheen is so much better for trading. The Tiamat is only for lane pressure and lane manipulation, but if there's a straight 1v1 and nobody else is involved, it goes towards Cube. Vici Gaming know this, they read this, and they want to engage.
Garvey trying to get out. Hextech ultimatum goes down. He's going to have a whole lot of trouble at this point because Vici Gaming are coming up towards the top side of the map. This is going to be a 3 versus 2. badeMan's there to discourage any more movement from the side of Vici Gaming.
It was good because they wanted to engage that place, but it was a little bit too soon that Cube pulled the trigger. He wanted to fight Garvey because he wanted to burn the W, also lock him down with the ulti, but if he just waited 2 more seconds for everybody else to catch up, that would have been a dead Fiora because Southwind going in with his QE, unavoidable by the Fiora.
Garvey going to be able to dodge that one out. He's going to look for badeMan, but I'm not sure about this one. He's going to flash in, get the stun, but here comes the engage from Southwind. Dunk barrel comes from downtown. 2 kills over to the side of Vici Gaming.
And just sit down as well, because Southwind was over on the other side, already helping his team do the Rift Herald, sees the gank happening in top lane in real time, might I say, goes over the wall, and the rest is history.
Vici Gaming going to be sitting pretty after that one. 4 kills to 0. They've got a Rift Herald to their name, and they will be getting another turret plating up in the top lane. This
is the Vici Gaming that we love to see. Early game priority going over to all of their lanes. Check this out though. Alistar from over the wall, managing to save his member who was locked up. 2 people caught between the Q and the W as well. Not a lot to say because Gragas is also there just for some extra damage.
That's the Southwind we wanted to see. He was saying he wasn't happy with his performance. He didn't feel like he'd reached his peak. If he still says that after that play, yeah, if he still says that after that play, I'm going to be like, all right, man, you're being ridiculous now, because that was a beautiful flash engage from him to save his top laner. And now the top lane is in an even worse position for LGD because Garvey is set behind by almost 20 CS. All he's been able to pick up a little bit more sustain.
Hard roaming around the entire map, and I quite like the fact that they've given the Rift Herald over to Southwind just because he is hard roaming. So usually when you walk around the map, you drop a lot of vision. The one thing that's limiting your amount of vision is obviously how frequently you go back. The more backs that you get off the Rift Herald empowered recall means the more vision you get for your team.
Southwind just playing his roaming cow game as best he can, has the ultimate now as well. Yuuki and Jay going at it at this point, but World Ender has been popped. Dykes is here as well with the Predator pop. Don't think the engage is going to continue at this point, but Vici would have probably gotten the better end if it went to the 2v2.
There was no ultimate available from Qiyana, but we got to watch out for how this is responded to by LGD because the Rift Herald was placed in bottom lane.
Rift Herald placed in the bottom lane. It looks like the rotation going to be coming in from badeMan as well. Going to get that pop, get a little bit of turret plating down there for the side of Vici Gaming. Not going to be able to take down the tower just yet, however.
Oh, no.
Here comes the engage from Cube. Garvey's in a whole lot of trouble. He's not going to be able to find the last vital, I don't think. Oh, there's the riposte. Doesn't find it. The flash is just half a second too late.
That flash, if he got the auto attack off, that would have been his ultimate proc that we could have seen a different story, but instead the last order from Cube. But in bottom lane, we've got to check this out because it's a 3v3. And I'm not too certain if LGD know this because it's a control ward for Ix.
They're looking for it, but look at that. Jay as well, looking for the bottom lane. Might be able to find a little bit of damage onto Kramer, chunk him down to half. Jay backs off back towards the mid lane, so it looks like Vici Gaming are giving up on this play.
However, they had multiple members because as you just saw, Jay came down as well. Wasn't actually in vision of the control ward that was in the tri-bush for LGD, but instead they decide not to play it because there is a turret as well as the extra member.
Now Vici keeping their roaming gank squad going. They're looking for the mid lane this time. Jay needs to shove this out as hard as he can if he wants to make this happen, but badeMan is there. Oh, the flash just made it over the wall for Southwind. He's going to be able to stop Yuuki in the meantime, though. They might be able to catch him on the backside. Unbreakable Will has been popped. There's the ultimate from the Sejuani. A lot's been dedicated just to take out this cow. I don't think they're going to find him either. The ultimate away. badeMan forced out, and Southwind survives through all of it.
And that was the best case scenario for Vici Gaming. If all of the CC gets locked down towards the Alistar with the Unbreakable Will, too tanky to deal with in the early game. And LGD, despite the fact they had a really good engage, couldn't actually get anything off of that. So you got to give props to them because badeMan is moving into the right direction. He's always counter-ganking Ix and specifically Southwind as well, wherever they decide to group up. But they just didn't manage to get anybody because they went onto the tankiest member.
Honestly, I feel like that's better than the best case scenario that Vici were hoping for at that point. They're like, all right, Southwind's dead. We're out of here, but he somehow survives all of it. Now more attention being paid to the top lane. Jay going for the roam. He has the Moby boots. He has the damage. Garvey in a whole lot of trouble. Does not have the ultimate available, but he's... Oh!
Dang, that was half his HP in one ability.
That's rough.
Yeah. I mean, when the mid laner roams up and straight out kills you without any real flashy plays, that's when you know that you need to start playing defensively. Already more than 14 minutes though, so turret plating is gone. I expect this turret to be gone as well, and Jay doesn't care about the lane, doesn't care about the turret, just wants to kill.
I'm not sure what Coach Long said to Vici Gaming in between games, but whatever it is, it worked. By God, 1-0-2 on that Qiyana. He's got the Dustblade, he's got another Serrated Dirk in his inventory. He is doing so much damage at this point. and everyone else on the team is doing just as well.
More importantly, they also defanged Garvey. So that was one of the hardest priorities for Vici Gaming to do, to see if they can put that top laner down. Baited him into picking a Fiora because they had the Camille. The Camille pretty much won lane anyway, I have to say, off her own merits. And even then, they absolutely managed to dominate against Garvey. So this is looking more and more dire for LGD. They haven't got necessarily a bot lane priority. They haven't got a top lane priority because it's 0-3-0 Fiora. This is looking harder and harder.
Because we were pointing out last game, 5k gold deficit for the side of, I believe at that time it was Vici Gaming. And now it's a 5k deficit in the side of LGD at 17 minutes. Last game it was 22.
Drake's also looking very similar, so it looks like a complete reversal. Whoever gets blue side gets advantage inside of this series, and Vici Gaming has definitely pushing their advantage. That Drake has been taken down. Next one's going to be Ocean, but they're not even looking towards that because all of their members are so fed to the point where they can just group up around the Baron when it spawns.
Puff looks to be going for the crit build here on this Lucian. He's gone for the Essence Reaver first, looks to be building the Infinity Edge second. That is a whole lot of AD going on to this Lucian, which now that he's going this build, will be able to scale a little bit better into the later stages of the game.
More importantly, it's pretty much just for the ulti, so I like it, but watch out for this.
Uh-oh, Yuuki in a whole lot of trouble. That's not going to save you, man. The ultimate from Jay is just so good. badeMan about to go down. The double kill for Jay. It's looking like a repeat of his last Qiyana performance.
However, in mid lane, they get the priority as well. Now they can start rotating over. Their multiple members down for LGD means that Vici Gaming can just group up with superior numbers, with superior poke as well. They should be able to force down the mid turret.
Should be able to. Looks like Kramer going to stay as best he can defend this, but let's take a look at this play in the bottom lane again.
So the first part is all done by Jay and Ike because they jump over the wall to match Yuuki. Of course he gets forced over, but combined between the two CCs, too much damage to deal with. And then the second part of the play was all started by Soutwind going over, bopping him backwards, and 4 members was too much to deal with.
Jay's Qiyana is disgusting.
It is very well played.
It's just legitimately disgusting.
See, I would use the exact opposite word. I would say that it's clean, because his execution is very clean on all of his ultimates and also on the jump overs. But that's just my view.
It's so clean it makes you angry and make you want to make it disgusting.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
There you go. We're mixing it in a little. Mixing metaphors a bit, but that's okay. Garvey has finally picked up a first item in the top side of the map. It's been a Ravenous Hydra, so he's going to at least be able to sustain himself, push the waves out as well as he can, but he's going up against Cube, who's got some sustain as well, and the Trinity Force completed, so I'm not sure how well the split push is going to start going or continue going for Garvey, but LGD looking for a desperation pick here towards the mid side of the map.
This could definitely be a bait. I mean, Kramer went over the wall with his E, but everybody else is still remaining over here. No vision for Vici Gaming. Could definitely spell their doom if they walk into that brush, but fortunately for them, they don't. And that gank has been dissipated. So LGD without another lead into this game. And I want to go back to the point that you talked about, that Trinity Force onto the Camille. Not actually the strongest thing about her build, but it's actually the Vampiric Scepter that allows her to go toe-to-toe with Garvey and always come out ahead, because Garvey's going to be pushed out and there's just going to be superior trading.
Has finished stacking up that call, however, for Garvey. So he's got a little bit going for him. Going to get a little bit of additional gold there, picking up the Ninja Tabe. Just trying to survive here against Cube, because that's the name of the game at this point, is survival, because LGD have not been doing a whole lot of it. They're at 8 deaths so far.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say that, checking out the scoreboard, but nonetheless, LGD, they're looking for that mid-game where they can start picking off members. You've always got the Sejuani ultimate. You've always got the Aatrox, and worst-case scenario, if Ezreal gets to a good enough build, the poke is not insubstantial, but they're just not at that point yet, and they're slipping ever further away because Vici Gaming are capitalizing over their early game. So we have to see if Vici Gaming can really push the issue, force the issue as well, because this is their weakness. But as we saw from game number 1, they certainly know that they how to shore it up.
And especially with Jay on Qiyana, it's very easy for them to take those engages. It's very easy for them to take those executions so that you don't really have to make the hard decisions. If you find a pick and then you're around Baron, it's not as hard a decision anymore as to what you do. You just take the Baron. You've got a massive Qiyana who can 1v1 assassinate almost anyone in the game right now. 3-0-2. Once she hits that second item, that is going to be a very, very frightening
That is the path to success. And more to the point, if you take a look at the way that Vici Gaming is playing right now, they're distributing lanes 1-3-1. And the great thing about that is the fact that you can rotate Jay into any lane that you want, and combined between him and the people holding that lane, you've got more than enough chase and damage to just execute people. So Vici Gaming, they've got a clear way to play, and for the next few minutes, they've got all of the tools needed to execute.
Colonel feeling pretty confident about Vici Gaming in this
Oh,
one.
he's
And
feeling it.
honestly, I'm going to have to agree with him right now because Vici Gaming are looking incredibly, almost uncharacteristically strong at this point into the game. But LGD aren't down and out just yet, but they have yet to find any measure of success for them. What do you think they're looking for?
They're definitely looking for the Hail Mary. They're looking for the fact that if they can get multiple members onto the right distribution as well, then they can also get the superior manpower. Because, of course, when Vici Gaming is doing the 1-3-1, they have 2 lanes where it's only 1 member, and LGD can always catch them out. So that is definitely their path back into the game, but it's harder done than said.
Oh, no. Jay comes in with the ultimate. He's able to find it on the badeMan, but badeMan's going to be safe on the backside of it. You know that's a scary Qiyana when you have 2 members looking for her, and she starts walking towards them, and they run.
And it's even scarier when badeMan has to get out of that ultimate, despite the fact that he had his passive still up, dodging out so much of the abilities. So even with that, LGD, they need to be ever careful about the situation because very little vision could be their weakness.
Very unfortunate timing there for LGD's ultimate there from Kramer because it was trying to scout out a Baron take.
Here it is.
Didn't see it, and then they immediately rotated in. Southwind, beautiful block there. Unbreakable Will still pops. Oh my god, the Baron goes down, and the fight goes down as well. LGD having a little bit of trouble. Cosmic Radiance is going to keep them alive for the time being. Teleport coming in as well from the bottom side of the map. Can Garvey find anything here? Looks like they're just going to try and defend against this Baroned up push from Vici Gaming.
And Vici Gaming don't even look like they're going to stop, but what a play coming out of Southwind over the wall, getting multiple members distracted with his ultimate to tank everything up while his team can actually burst down the Baron. It was so well played by him, and LGD honestly had no idea it was happening because Kramer used his ultimate beforehand, didn't have any information.
At this point, LGD find their first victory inside of the game, and they'll pick up an Ocean Drake at 23 minutes into the game. Not exactly when you want to pick that one up, because they just lost the Baron as well.
Yep.
So Vici Gaming have 2 minutes and 45 seconds to absolutely shove it down into LGD.
But more importantly, Vici Gaming, we've already seen what they were doing before they had the Baron buff. They were going 1 person in the top lane, 1 person into the bottom lane, and just rotate Jay around wherever he wants to in order to join them. It's a winning strategy, and with Baron buff, it can only be even stronger because when you check out their compositions, not a lot in terms of sieging because it is a Lucian as the ADC, but you can just outright kill people 100-0, and that is their MO.
Puff going to be looking for it here, and immediately Yuuki backs out. Smart from him, because Ike's is on the way as well. But Vici Gaming just going to bleed out LGD at this point, and there's not a whole lot they can do unless they can find some sort of magical pick. But if you look at the gold right now, 9K in favor of Vici Gaming. How do you even come back from that?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, and I wouldn't even count your chickens before they hatch because it looks like it's going to increase. Count it after the Baron buff is done because they are bursting down these turrets.
Culling coming out from Puff just to try and dissuade anyone from trying to take out that cannon minion. And he's able to do it. 1 versus 4. He scares them off, knowing that they've got someone in the wings. And it looks like Garvey was trying to go for a 1 versus 1 in the bottom lane, was taken down by Cube. And now Vici Gaming should be able to shove this one down. This might just be the end of the game. 1:30 left on the Baron buff.
Yeah, multiple lanes pushing as well. It wasn't just Cube, it was also Jay down there, but over on top side.
badeMan looking for the engage, not going to be able to find it. Aftershock keeping it alive for the time being. The knockup coming in from Southwind doing so much damage, and PYL forced back into the back line of Vici Gaming. They're going to be able to pick up 2. Can they find any more? Kramer just poking out as best he can. He goes forward, a little bit too forward. He gets engaged on it. The double kill comes in for Ike's, and that may be all she wrote here for game number 2 of Vici versus LGD.
What a dude. Southwind has been everywhere on the map, helping his team, engaging as well as disengaging the side of LGD. They might be able to find success just out of this alone.
First Nexus Tower going down. The last one alive is going to be Yuuki for LGD, but I don't think there's anything he can do about this. He's doing his best. He gets taken down. Garvey as well, not able to find any success. He takes down 1, but it's not going to matter at this point as Vici Gaming come in with the teleport, trying to take down the second Nexus Tower. badeMan and PYL, the only ones able to contest at this point. 8 seconds until Kramer's alive. Can LGD do it? At this point, they're stalling out pretty hard. Ike's comes in, able to pick up 1 as well. Puff still alive, as is Cube. They will be able to take the Nexus down in just a few. Ike survives, and that's one hell of a way to end game number 2 and get Vici their first win of the series.
What a cleanly executed game by Vici, and more importantly, that was so quick as well. 26 minutes on the clock, they take down that Nexus, and complete role reversal of game number 1. Didn't fumble the mid-game either. Well done in that victory.
Yeah, Vici's average game time is sitting somewhere in the 32 to 33 minute area. as is LGD, so it's impressive to see them able to take it down so much significantly quicker, and that just shows the power of what you can do when you have a strong game plan. You know what your win condition is, you know Jay can pop off on this. Southwind spent his entire game making sure that happened.
That was pretty much all Southwind from there, and look, I'm giving away who I personally want to win MVP. I'd be surprised if it's anybody else, but yeah, Vici Gaming just did so much with that. They played towards their strength, they rotated Jay around so that he could participate in every single kill during laning phase, and more importantly, they played towards LGD's strengths as well by shutting down Garvey, making sure that he could never get ahead. Even in the solo 1v1, that was so well played by the Camille, because usually Camille loses the Camille Fiora matchup, but still very well played.
Very well played by Cube, very well played by Vici as a whole, and LGD just sort of looked like they had nowhere to go with this game. They didn't really have a strategy against the roaming squad of Vici, and like you said, Southwind, I'm not going to disagree with your prediction of MVP. I think it'll actually end up going to Jay, but I think that Southwind is very deserving of it because those roams were absolutely critical for Vici Gaming to get ahead. Once you have that pressure around the entire map and there's no way of stopping it, LGD just had nowhere to go. You have an Ezreal, sure, but what's he going to do? He's already been killed. He has no way to get out of it. Suddenly a Kiana comes out from the side and gets 2 kills in the bottom lane. It's just like, okay, my lane's screwed. Southwind goes up towards the mid. That lane's screwed. Southwind goes to top.
And more importantly, when you talk about Southwind, you've also got to talk about the other support on the other side, PYL, right? Because there was a Taric and it was used to counter the Alistar. The theory was there in the sense that if Alistar engages, you just use your E back onto him and you out-sustain him because you're a Taric. However, it never came to fruition because Southwind never played towards the bottom lane. He always played everywhere else. And you got to give criticism where it's due because PYL only saw one ultimate, and that was at the end of the game when they were defending their Nexus.
Well, it's... It's funny because you can draft for lane matchups all you want, but if your lane opponent is never actually in the lane, there's not a whole lot you can do about that.
Yeah,
so
it's also the play style, right? Because if you want to play re-engage after they engage onto you and they never engage, what are you doing? You're just really sitting there, you're absorbing experience, and conversely on the other side, because Southwind was always moving around, Puff was getting solo experience, and on a Lucian, that's what you want. Level 6 and also level 11 were key spikes for him, and he used both of them so well with his ultimates.
It was really well thought out from Vici Gaming because I had concerns as well. Once Puff was being left alone, you know, how is he going to take care of this? Is there going to be a problem with the Taric and the Ezreal? And it turns out no, because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to be able to push out against the Lucian. They're not going to be able to engage against the Lucian because the best you can do with Taric, you need your flash for it. Yeah. And even then, Puff was just safe.
That was the exact point, right? The fact that they could never actually engage onto the Lucian, because if Lucian just holds his E, never uses it in a 1v2, then he'll always be able to get out. And yeah, not a lot that Taric could have done in that.
Vici Gaming, bring it back in game number 2. They're bringing it to a game number 3. They've been able to do this for their last 3 sets. Can they turn this one into a win and save their chances of 15th place? We're going to find out in game number 3. We'll be back in just a bit.